Sarper hates his marriage. At least that's what he said on this season's tell-all, part 1, on 90 Day Fiancé.
If you ask me, I don't like the marriage.
What?
Wait, you're saying you don't like the marriage?
No.
The way that Sarper even said that he didn't like his marriage, it looked like he hadn't even told that to Shekinah previously, which is pretty embarrassing. At least, I'm sure she would have felt that way. Him just exclaiming that to the world, I don't like my marriage. And yeah, I feel like this tell-all, everyone was taking shots at poor Shekinah, even her own husband, her own friend. Then who was it? Amani, Joan, just everyone's coming for poor Shekinah. I felt so bad for her. But one thing I did appreciate was Sarper's comment about the donkey and the unicorn.
When there are no horses left in the ranch, a donkey sees himself as the unicorn, you know?
He has a lot of good one-liners, but that was by far my favorite that he's ever said. And it was so accurate in the context of what he was saying. Like, they both make it very clear that they've been having issues. I mean, we saw it, right? And it's just a shame that things don't seem like they've improved. Even before they started to tell, the little clip of Shekinah showing that Sarper had left on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, that was really sad. But I kind of don't feel bad for Shekinah in this situation. I mean, I know I should, but the one thing about Sarper, he says how he feels when he feels it. And he's been a walking, talking red flag, and he tells you his red flags. I mean, apart from the one time he actually wore a red flag in front of Shekinah, Sarper tells you what his red flags are, and it's just a matter of whether or not you're gonna ignore them, or you think you can change him, or you just walk away. And I think Shekinah just ignored them, and now it's blowing up in her face in a situation where, at least legally, they're tied to each other. Sarper never came across as a guy that was for marriage. I mean, it doesn't suit him. Obviously, it doesn't suit him. And, you know, him being told what to do, I know what he was told by Shekinah to do. The examples he gave were, you know, clean up and take the dog out to pee, go take the dog for a walk, wash the dishes. I mean, I don't think it was that was upsetting him, but just the fact that he had been so independent for such a long time, and now all of a sudden his wife is telling him to do the same things he probably would have done on his own time. I think just the being told what to do when he's been independent and living alone as a bachelor for so long, I can see how that's not an easy transition on top of the other things that he's been transitioning, like moving away from Turkey, now moving into Shekinah's place. I feel like his world just been disrupted, and he just doesn't know how to transition into making that more comfortable for him. However, Shekinah also doesn't make it easy for him either. She says, you know, in the show, you're not man enough, you're not being a man, you're being a pussy, you're being this, you're being too controlling, and he's just trying to vent how he feels, and Shekinah's like, nope, it's inconvenient for me, so I'm going to ignore it. That's why I don't really necessarily feel bad for Shekinah. I don't feel bad for Sarper either. I mean, he needs to grow a pair and learn how to adapt. I mean, he knew that things were changing right in front of it. He kept voicing that about, you know, Shekinah starting to change like his ex-wife, and he didn't like that. I mean, the fact that he even told Shekinah, I'm scared to get married, but they did anyway. They both clearly ignored the clear signs at their guts, or just the signs around them about not getting married, but they chose to anyway. So I don't really feel bad for them. The situation sucks. I mean, I don't like Sarper, and I'm not the biggest fan of Shekinah, but I like them for each other and only each other. I can't see Sarper in a long-term relationship with any other person that would tolerate this crap. Shekinah brings up the fact that she doesn't even have a wedding ring right now. So maybe with Sarper not working at the moment, he can't afford a wedding ring. At least not a wedding ring to Shekinah's standard. Remember, they're both really bougie. But that depends on whether or not he's working. If he's not working, he can't afford the ring. But then Amani and Matt jump into the conversation, and you'll notice a weird tension between the two. So now we're going to move on to Matt and Amani. They chime in about, you know, when Matt and Amani first got married, they just, they just found a way. They just used something as a placeholder for the bigger ring to come. And though I get what he was trying to say, Matt and Amani, about having like a placeholder ring, I think also Matt has to know the tension between Amani and Shekinah. So it wouldn't be surprising if he was just saying that to just like nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Like, piss Sarper off, because it's so easy for him to do. It's so easy to piss off Sarper. And you see Sarper, claps back a little bit and says, "This isn't about you, this is about us." So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe Matt is a really nice guy from what it seems, so maybe he was genuinely just trying to give advice. But then also, it wouldn't be surprising if Matt was just trying to, make Sarper look bad and just say like, "Hey, that's an excuse, not to get a wedding ring." Now we're moving on fully to Amani and Matt. I didn't recognize Amani. I genuinely didn't recognize Amani. Even from the previews of 90 Day Fiancé on their Instagram account, I thought Aaliyah had gotten her feminization surgery. And I was like, oh my gosh, she looks amazing. Aaliyah looks great. Then it turned out to be Amani, and whoa, like the difference is night and day how different she looked. I didn't recognize her. She's asked, why so many surgeries? And she just says, society's fault. It's society's fault I look like this. I have issue with what she said. She got a BBL, liposuction, a temporal lift, a nose job.
I got a nose job, like a temporal lift. I got a BBL. I got a mini tummy tuck and lipo.
She says that it's society's fault, and then she goes on to blame Ani and Matt, and now it's Ani and Matt's fault. I think what actually happened was that she had the surgery. She felt some type of way about herself, obviously. She had all the surgeries, and she just wanted a whole one and done situation and got them so close together, and then regretted it after the fact, which happens, which really does happen. We can't ignore that. A lot of people get surgery and then regret the way they look, but she never takes responsibility for that decision to do that herself. No one said, I'm going to go get all these 5-6 surgeries in one go. No one told her that. She made that decision. She could have done, bit by bit, but she didn't. I'm not fully comfortable with her answer. It's a valid answer that she gave. She looked beautiful before. So the fact that she wasn't comfortable with how she looked and made such drastic change like that, it is a shame. We learn that Matt and Ani say, I'm sorry, Matt, I'm getting everyone's names confused. Matt and Amani say they stopped talking to Ani for like maybe a week, a couple days. And then Ani's saying a month. So what is it? I think it would be very clear when you guys have, taken a break or broken up. But they don't even seem to get that right.
We never broke up.
We
never broke up. How long were you not talking?
We took like a week and a half of not talking. We don't talk
maybe 1 month.
No, for a week. We didn't talk for a week after.
No.
Well, I hate this part of the conversation so much about Ani, Shekinah, and Amani. Oh, it was just so uncomfortable. So Sean finally addresses, what is this tension between the two of you? Obviously, you guys don't like each other, but why? We learn that Amani had reached out to Shekinah, trying to connect maybe, we don't know. So for her to reach out to Shekinah could have been her really trying to be this girl's girl, trying to, find another woman that she could connect with. They both have plastic surgery, they're both dating people or both in relationships with people from overseas, they both have children, they're both quite entrepreneurial. They could have connected on a lot. I personally think that they reached out to each other. They had a really good conversation. They were bonding. They were getting close. And she kind of just thought, I've got a connection with Amani. Let me ask her something that's been on my mind. I don't think what she kind of goes on to ask and say at this point is okay at all. Asking whether Ani is trans, I don't think that was appropriate to ask her girlfriend. I also don't think that Amani should have told Ani. That's like having a friend and your friend tells you, oh, I think your sister is ugly. and then you go to tell your sister that that friend said that she was ugly. Who does that benefit? That doesn't help anyone. I don't think that was something that Amani should have shared. That doesn't benefit anyone. And if anything, that's just going to instigate conflict, which could have been Amani's MO of that information. Could have been what she wanted. But even then, from what we don't know what the full conversation was, what could have happened was after Shekinah had asked that question, Amani used that and said, well, I'm letting you know in advance that I'm sorry about everything I'm going to say to you at the tell-all. We don't know. We weren't there. They won't share the DMs. They won't share the messages. But I think everyone in this situation sucks. Which lends to the final conflict of the tell-all, part 1, where everyone just starts throwing insults. After it's shared that Shekinah asked whether or not Ani's trans, they both go on to say, I think trans people are great. I think trans women are beautiful. I love trans people. I love the queer community. And then hurl the word trans at each other as if it's an insult.
Look, the trans. Come on, girl.
That's insane for me.
You are fired up. You're so annoying and you're so fake, and I'm tired of it. What?
Obviously, what they mean by that is saying you're ugly. But either way, trans and ugly are not interchangeable at all to describe someone. So to do that right in front of Aaliyah, devastating. Absolutely devastating. If I were Aaliyah, I'd be so disappointed in both of them. So we don't really know what happens after that. It'll be interesting to see how that conversation carries out into part 2, which will be airing soon. If you're interested in learning more or interested in hearing more of a recap from me, subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Bye!